Zels. I never watched it live. I actually texted you. I was in Arniston at the Arniston Hotel, thanks to Rog Newman. Roger Dodger, a wonderful weekend again, Alberta Paradise. Gil, Pike and myself went there and kind of switched off. Watched no live rugby and then text you to say, I saw the score. The Lions 25, Griquas 27. They're the Currie Cup champions. First time since 1970. And I watched the game on the highlights package. And then yesterday when I got home, it was playing in the background. And I watched, especially those last few minutes, George Whitehead doing what Jordan Hendrickson did a year ago, 83rd minute. Wow. Again, 2 points against the team that will be playing in the Vodacom United Rugby Championship. So a great win for Griquas, Currie Cup champions. But I thought of Uncle Bushy. Do you know Uncle Bushy?
Yes.
Uncle Bushy. Tell me, do you know what Uncle Bushy's real name is?
You got your Griquas glasses on today.
I do. This is in honor of Griquas, by the way. Hey, is it Suzuki Griquas?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to hazard a guess and go with Ronnie something or other.
Eric Reginald
Close.
Oliver. He died in 2021 at the age of 88.
Sure.
Uncle Bushy went in for a hip operation, never came out.
Okay.
But if there was one guy who should have lived to see Griquas win the Currie Cup, it was Uncle Bushy. He was an institution. On the times I used to go to Kimberley to watch Western Province play Griquas, Uncle Bushy was there, charging up and down that touchline. Just an institution.
Beautiful.
And an absolute legend. So Griquas, we have our views on the Currie Cup, Zels, but they did play a full-strength Lions team at Ellis Park, and they came away with a victory. You watched the game. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic for Griquas, obviously. Like we said last week, this is the biggest game of the season for them. And to pull it out at Ellis Park on the high velds in the way they did it. I mean, Whitehead has been there for some time, and he's a metronome, isn't he? Kicking at goals, that's his bread and butter. So a heartbreak for the Lions, not ideal. That's not really the way you want to close out your preseason prep for the URC, and for it to be back-to-back in the Currie Cup final, the way that it happened in the last moments must just be absolutely gutting for them. I think that's pretty much what they had to say after the match. But very excited for Griquas, and apparently when the guys arrived back in Kimberley, it was like they'd won the World Cup final. The whole town was there and there to celebrate. So it does. We spoke last week about how it's unfair that some of the URC players come back and contest the playoffs in the Currie Cup, and this is in a way sort of vindication for having the main guys stay in there. The Griquas, they overcame a URC team to win this final and record an epic championship run. So very happy for Griquas, gutted for the Lions. Hopefully they bounce back to make a good start to the URC. But a headline-grabbing way for the Currie Cup to end.
Okay, now where does this put talk of the Currie Cup again? Because we keep on saying, let's give context to the Currie Cup, to who plays in it. A lot of people have different opinions. It should be an extension of the SA Cup. The URC players primarily don't play in it, that if you're going to continue it in the current structure, you've got to say if you don't play X amount of round-robin games, you don't get to play in the playoffs. But it is a feeder into the URC in terms of squads, just like a club rugby is a feeder into Currie Cup or the SA Cup. But this constant reminder of a team has won the Currie Cup, glory days of the 80s, it to me just skews things again, because the romanticism becomes big again. But that is not the Currie Cup of yesteryear, pre-Super Rugby, pre us going into international competitions, and especially pre the Vodacom United Rugby Championship, Investec Champions Cup, EPCR Challenge Cup. Those are bigger competitions that our players now are playing outside of the test window. How do you package the Currie Cup win then?
Yeah, so I mean, it's for Griquas, like I say, absolutely insane result, given they are playing URC quality teams in the latter stages of the comp. I just think you have to, it's almost like history. Like, newspapers are not what they used to be. Newspapers used to be the main source of news, and now obviously because of the advent of the internet, that's all changed. So a newspaper is still a newspaper, but it doesn't hold its same standing in the media space like it used to. And I think it's the same with the Currie Cup. It's still the Currie Cup by name. You still win the Currie Cup trophy. It still has the same teams, similar teams. But it doesn't hold its same place of sort of primacy in South African rugby, because it's been overtaken by things like Super Rugby and now the URC. So I think it does have a valuable spot in in the rugby landscape here. I'm not sure exactly where and when to position it, because you do need the major unions involved to give it its credibility. Otherwise, it just becomes a bit of an afterthought. But it's also got to then have utility value for those unions. You can't have those unions playing the under-19s and under-21s in that comp. So it is a tricky one to sort out. I think we have to take it for what it is at the moment. But it isn't that premier domestic rugby championship that it was 30 years ago.
All right, so Griquas win first time since 1970 in the Western Cape. Villager, Hamilton's, the two oldest clubs up against each other in the final. Villager won, and I think it's an incredible effort, given a couple of years ago, Villager were basically relegated. No one knew the future of the club. I think Anton Chart, Rob Wagner, they got involved. They got them back functioning. It was live on SuperSport. I also saw that as part of the highlights package. I saw Monty put out Monty, who played for Villagers for a year just after he came out of Tech Gardens before he started his province career. So he put out a video pre the game saying, "May the best team win, go Villagers." So, so that was also great. It was great to see, when I watched all the highlights package, it was great to see club rugby getting its moment on a Saturday afternoon. It was great to see Griquas. What I liked about the Griquas Lions televised game was that it was the primary South African rugby game that weekend. There was no URC, there was no Springboks. So I think they got their dues there as well. For my sins, I woke up in the early hours of the morning. I was watching the Bunnings NPC, watching, there was a Ramfurly Shield Challenge that Otago beat Canterbury. But also, we talk about depth in our game. We talk about the obvious difference between URC, SA Cup, Currie Cup. And I could see that when I watched the NPC as well, that compared to their Super Rugby, a hell of a difference in terms of standard. And also in terms of spectator appeal, there wasn't much there. so yeah, I think it's a global thing that we've got to look at and understand how much rugby gets played and see each competition for what it is, but then applaud the winners there. So to the guys in Kimberley, to Andre Markgraf, he's finally got that Currie Cup win. He's invested so much time and energy and I think finance into Griquas. Piet Berg, George Whitehead, who's like, George Whitehead is like one of those, I could never call him a journeyman because that would be an insult to him. He's just one of those great team players, and wherever he goes, he gives you 100+%. And I know I watched the game after the fact, so I knew the result, but he was never missing that kick, was he?
Never, mate. Never. I mean, his whole career had kind of been leading up to this point, I suppose. I mean, that's the one thing with Whitehead is that thing's going between his sticks. Ace kicker.
All right, so that was the Currie Cup. Obviously, this week, it's all about the Springboks again. It's about the Castle Rugby Championship. It's about the Bledisloe Cup that doubles these two games, Australia, New Zealand, Australia, for Rugby Championship points. All four teams have 2 wins, 2 defeats. Australia's 1 bonus point ahead, thanks to that lovely forward pass when they got within 7 points of the Pumas. They play New Zealand at Eden Park. We play the Pumas in Durban, and we're going to talk Bok selection, Bok 23, because Rassie Erasmus on Tuesday afternoon names his 23, and just for another 24 hours, you can be part of the discussion. You can go onto our WhatsApp channels, you can go onto our Facebook page, you can tell us, and on the comment section here, which 23 you would like to see play against the Pumas in Durban on Saturday afternoon. And this is brought to you by multi-award winning Auto and General Insurance. Never not there. Now, where do you make your changes? From the side that won 43-10, bearing in mind where all the injuries are, we've got 24 hours to drum up this, be a selector till 3 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon when Rasta comes out and he calls. This is the match 23 to play Los Pumas in Durban.
Yeah, look, I don't know. So what I would do and what Rassie would do, obviously 2 very different things. I'm sure Rassie's got a bigger picture plan, and there may be a raft of changes for this match that were pre-planned perhaps. I wouldn't go too far away from what they had. It worked. There's a lot of momentum behind that team now. There's a lot of inspiration and belief. Obviously, there are some injury-enforced changes that have to be made. We spoke last week, I think it was, about my feelings around Cheslin Kolbe and potentially playing fullback. I think he could add massive value there. He's now an experienced player. And I see that Hendrik Cronje wrote the following Sunday that there's a chance that Cheslin may be featuring at fullback at some stage. So it seems like where there's smoke, there's fire. I think they're probably going to start Gaza at fullback with Cheslin sort of getting some reps and training at covering there for possibly later in the game. But I would like to see Damien go at 12 again and get a full run this time at 12. And I might just start Ches at fullback. So that's the start of my selection.
What is the temptation to say it's non-negotiable? These two games have to be won, and won with bonus points, to be sure of winning this competition, because I don't see Australia getting 2 bonus point wins against New Zealand. I see them getting a win, but not 2 bonus point wins. So to give ourselves a chance, control our own destiny, we got to get the 5 points in Durban and the 5 points when they play the Pumas at Twickenham a week later. And they are playing at Twickenham. If you haven't followed the news, it's Argentina's home game, but they've decided to take the game to Twickenham for commercial reasons. Temptation to bring back the best and most experienced midfield pairing we probably have ever had. No disrespect to Jean de Villiers and Jacques Cronje. Out of sight, out of mind, they say. Jacques Fourie, I mean. Out of sight, out of mind. But for now, I mean, they are the most experienced centre combination that the Springboks ever produced. Damien Diande, as they would say in Miami. Hey, Ayande, he scored a goal. Great Messi through ball and he scored a goal. Damien Dialandi, all the way from Milnerton, your mate, and his butt. 12 without peer, without comparison in the last few years as a 12 in Test rugby, with Jesse Currie was captaining the side a fortnight ago against the All Blacks at Eden Park. The temptation to bring those two back must be massive.
Mate, if the All Blacks had Damien de Allende at 12, they would be a ferocious, very difficult team to contend with, and they would have given South Africa a great run in Wellington. I can guarantee it. That's exactly what they're missing. And I think, that guy's credentials are sort of beyond question. He's a fabulous player. We know what we've got in him. The question is about how much longer he can carry on doing what he's doing. But Gaza can't do what Damien de Allende does. Willemse can't do the same thing. He's a different kind of 12. There's things he can do that de Allende can't do. So I think there would be temptation to bring those guys back, but that's for you and me, because for Rassie, I'm not sure the main objective here is to win the rugby championship per se. I think it's an objective. I don't know if it's the main focus. He's now sort of neck deep in this transition between the two teams now, between the old guard and the youngsters, and finding opportunities for the youngsters to come in and show what they can do. So I feel like these next 2 tests are going to be, because of the weight of expectation from South African fans that we need to pursue and win the rugby championship. That's exactly the kind of cauldron that Rassie likes to put youngsters in to see whether they can swim. He doesn't do it against Uruguay. He does it in big games, like he did with Ethan Hooker out of nowhere. 2 tests against the All Blacks. So for you and I, we would pick the team that we think could win, give us our best chance of winning. For Rassie, I don't think that is going to be the focus. So I think he may stick with more of a younger slant to this team, and then just plug the holes necessitated by injuries.
So you say, so I understand you correctly, as dit wat jy eintlik sê, Zels, that the core of the side that started in Wellington and 143-10 will be entrusted to start in Durban again, and when necessary, an experienced older hand comes in, and then potentially, regardless of that result, 6 or 7 changes for what could be the finale then at Twickenham, and that he gives this side a back-to-back chance to actually show their worth and doesn't disrupt it after just one game.
Yeah, I don't think so let's pretend there was no championship on the line. He doesn't need to see de Allende, Creole, Andre Paul, like he's seen these guys. They've won 2 World Cups. He knows exactly what they're about. And there is a form element to it, and there is a confidence element to it, and a continuity element. But I don't see the reward for that. For him to, like Ethan Hooker, has been a massive revelation in his start for South Africa, and we need to build on that, right? It's not now to take him out and then we see him again somewhere in the end of your tour. That's the way I would look at it. Rassie may have a completely different slant at it. So for me, I think you've got to give these guys another go, just to give more context to last week, give them another go in the saddle, see how they respond to the hype and the jubilation of that massive epic victory, and probably pad them a bit with some of the more experienced guys, and the injury opportunities create that sort of environment to do that. But I would stick with pretty much the same.
Okay, no Apalele Fassi.
Yeah.
No Apalele Fassi.
Yeah.
No, he's not there. He's had an operation, ankle gone. He's out for the season, or for a good part of the test season he's out for. And I think it's early next year he'll make a return to the URC. Mapimpi's in the squad. KZN player,
Great choice.
not a KZN lad, from the Eastern Cape. We know Rusty's not a sentimental oak. Does he pick Mapimpi because it's potentially his last test match that he would play in South Africa, given he is going on 35, or is there another year left in his legs? Do you pick him? Do you go to Chesnan? We got to manage your game time. We keep you back for Twickenham, and we go with a Kane and Moody on the wing with a hooker. Damien Willemse at 15 to bring back those guys and bring Andre the Giant off the bench? Or does he just go like Kane and Moody and Andre Esterhuizen as his centre pair and Damien Willemse at fullback? Because Willy's going back to the Bulls. They said he's training with the side this week. Fussy's out, and your choice of maybe a Chesnan at fullback, which would mean then that Damien Willemse stays at 12. But ironically, Esterhuizen and Andre the Giant and Kane and Moody have featured at 12 and 13, with Mani Lebok at 10 in that 35-7 win against the All Blacks at Twickenham, and the 43-10 win against the All Blacks in Wellington. I mean, he's got some great options there.
Lots of options, mate. Lots and lots of options.
But let's move away a bit from Rassie. What would the starting backline be that you would pick?
If I'd picked that team last week and we got the result that we got, I start Sasha at 10, I start Gaza at 12, I start Kanan at 13. Chesnan goes to fullback. I think Makazole Mapimpi coming in on the left wing would be a great addition for experience, for physicality. He's fearless, and he's coming up against an Argentina backline that is nuggety and abrasive and likes to tickle the ribs. So I think there's an opportunity there for a more physical outside back, especially a guy who's seen it all and done it all and scored plenty of tries. So Makazole on the one wing and Chesnan at fullback with Ethan on the other gives us physical bookends, good under the high ball, and Chesnan, who comes in at first receiver in later phases of play and can cut you to pieces with his feet, can put the ball into space with his boot, and has got the hands and distribution to send other oaks into space. That'd be the way I go.
And you haven't got a problem with hooker on the right wing as opposed to the left wing?
No.
You think it's interchangeable? He's come
I think it's potato for this week. I would go with that.
All right, okay. Who starts at 9 then for you, Williams or Reinach or Morne van der Berg?
I would stay with what we've got. As much as I want to see Morne get game time, and I know what we've got in Grant, I feel like Reinach and Sasha are an interesting combination, and they need an opportunity to play together. And I'd be keen to see what they do against. I think this is going to be quite a tricky, slippery game for a number of reasons. And so I think there's going to be adversity here. So you want some experience in the halfbacks there. And Kobus has got a massive kicking game when it's brought to bear, and obviously experienced.
Right. It is in Durban. There's a lot of Sharks players in that squad. Some of them have been outstanding. Some haven't quite hit their straps. Bongi's one of them that hasn't hit his straps yet. We haven't seen him scale the heights that we did in World Cups and for the Boks over the last 5 to 6 years. Do you see Bongi getting a start?
I would love to see him start, and I think that's Rassie's MO, isn't it? A guy coming back with some question marks, you start him, you can always pull him if it's not working out. And I hope Bongi comes back and he's on form and fully conditioned and delivers, because we need depth at hooker is a potential issue in terms of the gap of experience after Malcolm and Bongi. It's quite a big gap to the next blokes. We've got a bit of a tweener in Jan-Hendrik Wessels, who's a loose head / hooker. And then we've got Marnus van der Merwe coming through as a bright prospect. But neither of those two guys massively experienced. And we need Bongi to go as long as possible. So I hope he has a big one.
Could this also be a test that he gives Malcolm Marx a breather and says he's carried the load for the 2 Australian test matches, the 2 New Zealand, gets him freshened for Twickenham, and he trusts Bongi and Marnus?
Yeah, that's a good shot. I hadn't actually thought about that. That would be a good one. We've still got some youth on the bench, so we get some of that experience factor out of that. It would be a brave call, but a good one.
Yeah, because I'd like to see Ox, Bongi, and Wilco start.
Yes.
Front row.
Yes.
With Eben, and possibly, give Ergies Neyman a start with Eben. I think that's a wonderful looking tight 5. And then have options on the bench. We have so many good options. And I would go with that balanced loose trio of Jasper at 8, Sia, and Peter Steph du Toit. I think that would be quite a potent starting pack. And then with a starting pack like that, you can really play around with, if you're going to pick those younger backs as they did in Wellington, they will be getting front foot ball.
Yeah.
A guy like Kobus Reinach can dictate field position. He understands its prime real estate. He's got good chases of the ball. You win the aerial battle, you tend to win test matches. And that's the one thing, Argentina have improved so much under Philippe Contepone, but they also haven't been squeezed yet. with the most dominant pack in the competition, which is the Springbok pack, and a very good
It's a good shot.
kicking game from the base, because they have outstanding backs in there, but they want to play that Australia-New Zealand type of game, and I think they're playing it better than the All Blacks and the Wallabies at the moment. I think they've got the best attacking back threat, but we have shown in the past we can dominate them up front, and that does render them, it neutralizes them a lot in the
time.
back. So I would go with that kind of pack. I would love that, as close to that team that play those backs in Wellington. I'd love to see them play.
Yep.
I also like the Sasha starting, Marnie coming off the bench, and rest Polly, rest Damon Delandy, rest Jesse Krill, even rest Chesden. Those guys, let them have a hit out at Twickenham again. You've got 5 test matches in a month's time. There's still a lot of test rugby to be played this season for the Springboks. I don't quite share your maturity when it comes to the Castle Rugby Championship. No Springbok team has ever gone back-to-back and won it. These guys are for records. They are for legacy. And I think it's definitely a competition he wants to win. The difference would be that I think he backs both teams to go out and do it. As he did in New Zealand, he backed a certain team to win at Eden Park, and then he backed a very different team to win at Wellington. And I actually watched yesterday, I watched that Eden Park test again. And that last 15 minutes, we were so dominant. It was a precursor for what was to come in Wellington. And you take that 14-point start out that they had within 10 minutes, and the last 100 minutes of that test rugby in New Zealand, probably the most dominant I've seen the Springboks in New Zealand.
Agreed. 100% agree with that. I don't think you can argue that. I mean, South Africa's dominance over this era of All Blacks is unprecedented. So long may that continue. And I think at the heart of that is our depth and the quality of play that we have up front, obviously. And so unearthing new tight forwards, new loose forwards, finding answers to those questions in this season, I think is massively important to us sustaining that dominance over the All Blacks pack.
All right, be part of that conversation. Go to the SA Rugby Magazine Facebook page. On the comments here, visit the Keo Zels WhatsApp channel, the SA Rugby WhatsApp channel. Go to Order in General's Insta page, like it, their Facebook page, like it, and you can be part of the discussion. You can also win a Springbok Test Match jersey. And this segment, as always, was powered by Auto and General Insurance, backing champions since 1985, licensed non-life insurer and FSP, T's and C's online. All right, Zels, a very somber moment for us here because Imad Griffiths, our wonderful friend, producer, videographer, everything, has had an awful week in him and his family. His dad, Mr. Wesley Griffiths, passed away. He had been struggling with ill health, but it was rather sudden. Imad's looking at us across the room now. Buddy, to you, condolences to your family, much love, and may it be a strong week, and may you guys kind of cope with it. I know your dad was a big, big rugby nut. The only game that he basically missed in the last how many years was the 43-10 one. He felt quite ill in that weekend, and he would have missed. He would have been pretty much gone by the time Greek was won as well. So he's missed 2 big ones, but he's around for some big wins as well. I know you used to love watching the show as well, knowing that his son was the brains behind it, and the videography all courtesy of Imad Griffiths, and the producer of the show. So Imi, from us to the Griffiths family and all of you guys, much love, brother, and Stavta.
I never met Mr. Griffiths, obviously, but judging by Imad, I'm sure he was very, very proud of his son. Just the most humble, hardworking, honest, genuine oak. So big loss for the family, but all strength to them.
All right, on a brighter note, Nathan Jacobs in Belleville. He's a winner. We like to give away prizes on the show. Butch James, at the forefront, one of the co-founders of Avant Brandy. He's going to be in Durban on Friday night. The big competition was buy a bottle of Avant Brandy, put the Keo Zels tag there, and you can win a trip to Durban, courtesy of Avant Brandy and Butchie. And Nathan Jacobs did. Nathan Jacobs and one other will be flown to Durban. They will stay in a hotel. I don't know if they'll get to use that hotel because Friday night is with Butchie. And they'll get to watch the Springboks hopefully beat the Pumas and set themselves up for the chance to win the Rugby Championship. So a big shout and a big congratulations to Nathan Jacobs.
Congrats, Nate.
thanks again to Avant. And when we chat on Thursday as well, the usual predictions will be there where you can get one on them. You buy one, you get one on the house if the prediction comes off. And the predictions haven't come off much this year, even when it was a line-up all try for be it the Springbok women against the Black Ferns or the Boks against the All Blacks. 18 tries scored, no line-out try. But the prediction is 2 tries, Butchie says, for the Boks, 2 or more, and you can have one on him. So I don't know what else can say after that. Maybe there will be a penalty kicked. I don't know.
He will field 15 players.
But the keys would 15 stay on the field. Okay, so yeah, great prize. And we do give away prizes. Yeah, our good mate Stecco, you got something there?
Correct. Our Stecco winners for week 2 and week 3. Week 2 was Elsie Solomonzi. I hope I said that correctly. And our week 3 winner was Marvin Swartboy. So congratulations, guys. Your Stecco prizes are yours.
Thank you for that, Zels. Buddy, it's Bledisloe Cup, Australia, New Zealand. It's been fun to watch some of the rhetoric coming out of there. Joe Smith saying, questioning the ethics of Razor Robinson while Fozzie was around. Just stirring the pot. The Wallabies are arriving in Auckland saying it's just another field. It's not another field. They haven't lost there in 51 test matches since 1994. It's been 49 wins and two draws. And they've beaten the Wallabies 20 times in 20 years.
Lucky bounce.
Lucky bounce, of course. Only ever at Eden Park, at the Garden of Eden. We're going to be chatting that game in great detail on Thursday. But James O'Connor's been flown back. He flew over to Leicester where we'll be playing. And 2 days later flew back. I think he's done something like 34,000 kilometers in the week. Well, Skelts is not available. But he may be available for the one in Perth. So, again,
all up in the air, man. I don't know why they call it the bloody slow club, because it's more like the bloody fast cup. I think especially this year with New Zealand having dominated it for so many years. There's only 2 matches in it this season. And if the All Blacks win the first one, they keep it. So that might be over within the first 80 minutes. And I've got a feeling that the All Blacks respond in a big way to that Wellington defeat. And the Wallabies bear the brunt of it.
I got a feeling
I do.
that tonight's going to be a big, big night. Yep. We'll talk about that on Thursday. We're also going to give you a full preview to the Vodacom United Rugby Championship. The Stormers, they kick it all off in Cape Town. I'll be at that game watching the Stormers against Leinster, the defending champions. We'll still bring a strong squad there. We know the news that Jacques Nienaber has re-signed with Leinster till June 2027. And a lot of discussion about that. Jacques saying he's loving the challenge. He doesn't have to be away from home for 6 months. But I keep on telling people the World Cup only kicks off in October 2027. Jacques Nienaber would have had another 2 seasons there, including the back end of this year, 2025. He would have been there for 5 years. He and his family then qualified for their passports, the Irish passports. But I can't see Jacques Nienaber turning down the opportunity to go to the World Cup with the Springboks unless Ireland got in there early and offered him the opportunity to go with Ireland, and that's something he could consider. A great coach, loving his time at Leinster, but also a coach that may tire of boredom in a dominant club team and actually want the challenge of coaching at international level again. Saw a couple of interviews he's done over the past few days, saying how much he's evolved his own coaching, how much he's enjoyed the challenge of being in a different country, different cultures. But again, I think he's another guy, and I didn't always give him his dues when he was with Rassie. So I'll front that. But I think in his absence in the Springboks, we also come to understand and appreciate just how much he means to it. And I know you're a big fan of his, Zels.
Yeah.
Would that be fair comment?
I think that would be 100% fair comment. I think Jacques has basically told us that he will be back for that next World Cup, because in articulating what a massive sacrifice it is to be part of the Springboks, all that time away from your family, those are sacrifices he made to win back-to-back World Cups. And I don't think he's about to let slip the opportunity to make history and become one of only a handful of coaches who've won 3 World Cups in a row. So the Boks need him. That's my gut feel. I don't think the Boks win the next World Cup without him. The Jacques and Rassie show is deadly on the rugby scene. There is nothing like it. And I think the two of them make a great partnership on and off the field. and the Springboks are the beneficiaries of that. So I hope to see him back in the mix, and that's not taking a shot at anybody who's in the scene at the moment. I just think Jacques and Rassie have walked a long road together. They've won the biggest games in the biggest arenas, and I think the Springboks would do well to have them back together. So my gut feeling is that he is back for the next World Cup, and I hope that's the way it goes.
All right, and if you look at the Springbok setup, talk coming out of the camp, we know that that the executive led by Mark Alexander and obviously CEO Rowan Oberholzer, they have incredible faith in Rassie Erasmus. They want him around. They want him around till 2031. In chats that I've just had informally with them, there's never been a question that they want to keep him as long as they can. But there's been a little bit of jockeying going on and saying, well, I haven't really signed post 2027 unless you give him my whole team.
Wow.
Do you see them giving him the whole team?
I don't think so, mate. I mean, that would be an amazing commitment to a management team that has had mixed results, I would say, in terms of the team that they were working with and what's happened. And I'm not putting that on them. There obviously has been change and there have been external factors, but I think it would be a hell of a call just in general to sign somebody on for a third term to the next World Cup and to do that with all of the assistant coaches at the same time. I think the door should be open for that to happen, but to actually just unilaterally say everybody's locked into the next thing. And I'm also not sure that's the best thing for excellence, right? For efficiency. Like, in a way, having to earn your next contract may bring the best out of you. I don't know. I just think that's a big ask.
Okay, I've been a big supporter of appointing Rassie till 2031. Okay,
Yeah.
but I agree with you on the sense of when you say appoint everyone en masse as is in 2025 or 2 weeks ago in the Rugby Championship, we still got 2 matches there, 5 tests overseas, and we got the great rivalry tour. 3 tests against the All Blacks in South Africa, plus a 4th one probably in London somewhere. And then we go into 2027 and there's a World Cup. Who knows what happens there? And you may look and think, I've got these guys for another 4 years, all of them, and it has gone Pete Ton. So I understand that there's discussions going on, but I would also be a bit reserved to just lock in everyone till 2031. That's a hell of a long time.
That
That's
is
6 years from now.
unprecedented, mate. I'm not sure anybody
6 years from now, you know.
Those kind of contracts in pro sport generally don't end well. Long-term commitments like that generally
And also, say Rassie then tired or something happened to him, or we know in the past he has had ill health and he was ill health, and a new guy had to come in then and says, I don't want these assistants. Or one of the assistants has to be a caretaker and says, I don't know if I want to work with X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
So I can understand
Yeah.
SA Rugby's executive not just saying,
No.
yes, where do you sign, where do we sign? So I don't think Rassie will ever be lost to South African rugby at a test level. I also can't see, Rassie said it often. I think it's still pinned to his X feed. His speech, the eve of the 2019 World Cup, where they beat England 32-12 in Japan. That who else does he coach? Like, how can he give any other national team himself? So I think Rassie Erasmus could coach anywhere in the world if he wanted to, but would he want to? Would he want to give up that great view from Doodles
I
in
can't see
Bloberg
it, mate.
to be somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere on a crappy afternoon, raining, cold, to prove what?
Yeah. Also, what I would say about that is that Rassie's value to South African rugby is far bigger than just head coaching the Springboks. And even though I think it bored him to tears, bored isn't the right word, but even though I don't think it's kind of satiated his coaching desires, that time that he spent as the, I think, high performance director or whatever at SA Rugby, where he basically created all the pathways for the juniors and created the whole sort of analysis system around that, is exactly why South Africa has been successful since he returned, winning the 2019 World Cup and then 2023. So that kind of work in terms of framework, structures, pathways, talent identification, analysis, innovation, those are things that he can continue to do well after he retires from traveling around the globe with the team. He in his later years, he might not want to be the front and center. And I know media duty is not something he's always embraced. So maybe in his later years, being more behind the scenes, but still having a massive impact on South Africa's ability to turn the best young players into the world, into world champions, will still be valuable to us.
All right. So Rassie, going nowhere for now. Hopefully not for a while. whether he gets all his assistants, whether he gets what he wants post 2027, I think that's a longer road for everyone to travel. What's also going to be a long road is the URC. It is one hell of a competition.
Yeah.
16 teams, 18 round-robin matches into the playoffs, and you've got to juggle that with playing in the Investing Champions Cup, alternatively the EPCR Challenge Cup. I don't think people quite get how hard it is to win this URC. We were spoilt. The Stormers won in the first year. They hosted Munster in the second. They were 2 minutes away from doing back-to-back. The Bulls in the first final hosted final number 3. Looked like they beat Glasgow, lost it, a great second half from Glasgow, and then went to Dublin and unfortunately weren't up to scratch in losing to Leinster. 4 seasons, 4 different champions. It's been the Stormers, it's been Glasgow, it's been Munster, and it's been Leinster. And the Bulls have been there with 3 of the 4 finals. They've got a new coach, Akkers. I see they've got 14 unavailable players for the opening round and some big names there. There's about 6 or 7 with the Boks, and there's some big name players who are injured. Either they would have been with the Boks or they've played for the Boks. But Akkers seems confident with the depth that they've got there. They play at home against the Ospreys. The Sharks, big tough one. They're up against Glasgow, away from home. The Lions travel to Cardiff and the Stormers at home to Leinster. You've been following, obviously, the scene, the URC scene. What's your mood like? What do you think? Do you think it was a big thing that Leinster had to win it, that they embrace it more now that they've won it?
Yeah, I think definitely for them, obviously a huge result and something that must have felt like massive relief, because for years since us joining the URC, we were told what a juggernaut Leinster is, and they didn't win it until this last season. So I think getting the monkey off the back would have helped there. I think there also has been a slow transition of some island stalwarts that are kind of moving in a different direction. The addition of a guy like Geordie Barrett, Ergie Snyman, has changed things for them. So, yeah, they're the defending champions. They come to Cape Town in round 1. That'll be a cracking game against a team with obvious, championship credentials themselves. And then Ackerman, he turned the Lions into Super Rugby contenders. And he's got much more to work with at the Bulls. Still got the high fault factor in his back pocket. And I think he's the kind of character that players rally around. And whatever happens in round 1, the Bulls can only get better, right? Because they're going to get Cam Hanekom back. They're going to get Ulrich Lowe back and a bunch of Boks, Wilco Lowe among them. So the Lions will want to, bounce back, respond to the disappointment of that Currie Cup reverse. Any chance that they would start the season with anything close to sort of stars in their eyes or complacency or missed focus is gone. I think they will hit the ground in survival mode to an extent, wanting to prove themselves, redeem themselves. So I think that the Lions are going to deliver their best stuff. It's about whether they can sustain it for the duration of the campaign. And then the Sharks, the Galacticos, full of Springbok players, talent coming out of the ears from veterans to young guns. It's about who they pick and how they play, I suppose. But like you said, they've got a tough opening act against Glasgow, who themselves are a tricky, sticky team to beat, especially in Scotland.
All right, but we're going to be previewing that on our Thursday show when we preview all the test match rugby. We're also previewing all day on Wednesday. It is Heritage Day, and Castle Lager, our partners, are intent of creating history and bringing the world the biggest braai ever. Now, I'll be braaiing in Devil's Peak.
I'll be braaiing, mate. And the wood's there, ready to go.
It doesn't matter where you are in the peninsula. I'm at the foot of the mountain. When you see the smoke, just know it's me. I've started, mate. I get a few reinforcements in, 2-3 hours in. Some of my mates just drive through to save the meat. But I have a lot of ice-cold castles and be enjoying Heritage Day. Be thankful, show gratitude, and also kind of just perspective and anchor ourselves as to kind of who we are in South Africa, what makes us different, because we are different, okay? Yeah. And our love for this country and our love for the sport, be it rugby, be it soccer, be it cricket, be it athletics, hockey, netball, anything. I mean, we are different animals. And Castle's been there for 130 years. It's been there, if you think any national team, and you think any occasion, you kind of tend to associate it with a Castle Lager, insignia on the shirt, one in the hand. And for those who don't drink the heavy stuff, there's a lot of lighter stuff to drink as well. But the one thing we don't have, and in this country we should have it, we don't hold the Guinness book world record for the biggest braai. And that's what they are going to attempt on Wednesday, Heritage Day. Everywhere, I think it starts around 9 o'clock in the morning. It'll go through to midnight. And the simultaneous braaiing of the biggest braai in South Africa. And there's going to be different events as well. If you're in Loftus, in Pretoria, you go to Loftus. You can braai there. The Pullman Hotel in Rubik Street in Cape Town, near the mountain. You can braai there. The Proteas can come to Kingsmead in Durban. You can braai there.
Brilliant.
If you want to know where to go onto the Castle Lager website. Follow Castle Lager on X as well. And you can also win a brewery tour with the Springboks and a friendship tour, because it's about friendship, and you get to win and bring one of your good mates on the tour, and it's courtesy of the Springboks. But much to appreciate on Wednesday, something for us to look forward to. You're going to be braaiing in
Sunningdale.
And what are you going to be braaiing, Zels?
Mate, whatever's available. Chops, wors, steak, you name it.
And you're going to be having friends over, Zels?
Of course, mate.
Hey, Zels, what are you doing on Wednesday? Zels is braaiing, okay? And I just know for this particular day, because Zels is more Brandewyn, okay? But I may tempt into having a bit of a castle. I'll be in Devil's Peak. If you see me at the garden centre, scream, yeah, where's Zels? Ask me, I'll tell you. He's in Sunningdale. Have a wonderful day. Be safe. Enjoy Heritage Day. Much love again. Our thoughts go to the Griffiths family, and we will chat on Thursday.